Hello and welcome to the Program Management Systems and Effective HIV STI Programs for MSM chapter of the MSM Implementation Toolkit, or MSMIT, a tool that offers practical guidance for implementing comprehensive HIV and STI programs for gay, bisexual and other men who have sex with men. This training is brought to you by MSMGF, the Global Forum on Men Who Have Sex with Men and HIV. This chapter is comprised of 5 interrelated modules that present information progressively and should therefore be approached in order. Let's begin with an overview of Program Management Systems and Effective HIV STI Programs for MSM chapter, so you will know what to expect as you progress through the 5 modules. In Module 1, we introduce Program Management for HIV STI programs among MSM, along with common challenges. In Modules 2 and 3, we present the steps to plan and implement effective HIV and STI programs for MSM. Module 4 focuses on capacity building of MSM organizations. And finally, in Module 5, we look at programming in difficult and/or dangerous contexts. At the outset, we would like to note that in the interest of keeping the language of this tool clear and concise, the term gay, bisexual and other men who have sex with men is often replaced with a shorthand, men who have sex with men, and/or MSM. These shortened terms should be understood as representing the rich diversity of gay, bisexual and other men who have sex with men, including those who do not self-identify as such. The first module introduces program management for HIV STI programs, with a special focus on the unique challenges that present in MSM-focused and MSM-led programs. After completing this module, you should have a basic understanding of 1. The importance of effective program management for HIV STI management among MSM. 2. Unique aspects of MSM communities that program management structures must take into account. With these goals in mind, let's begin. We will begin with a quick overview of why robust program management is important through the specific example of a commonly occurring phenomenon in HIV programming. The scenario looks something like this. It is well known that many existing implementing organizations, especially large national and international non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that are successful at raising money have little experience working with men who have sex with men. And, by the same token, organizations of men who have sex with men often have limited organizational experience, capacity, or access to funding to implement and scale up programs themselves. However, there are storehouses of community-related knowledge and know-how to maximize access to the community. Often what ends up happening is that the smaller MSM organizations and leaders are contracted by larger NGOs to provide services and knowledge. This results in the smaller MSM organizations getting stuck in an oppressive power dynamic, wherein they remain as contributors of program content for larger parent programs. In the longer run, when these parent programs end or funding dries up, there is often no sustainable organizational infrastructure left for the MSM groups, and unfortunately, they often end up disbanding. This is one of the reasons why program management is so important. Ideally, when this model of knowledge transfer is in place, the NGO that is benefiting from community knowledge should invest in building and sustaining the organization of gay, bisexual and other men who have sex with men, so that programs can be sustained by the communities themselves. A robust program management system is the most effective way to do this. Presented here is a list of the characteristics of such a system. They have clearly defined roles and protocols, work across a range of levels, and generate, analyze, and use data, to name a few of them. These systems are necessary for NGO-seeded and supported organizations of MSM, as well as independent MSM organizations. Effective program management systems are essential. Given the wide spectrum of services needed by men who have sex with men, it is usually necessary to link with existing clinical and social services. This linkage often requires ongoing capacity strengthening of providers so that they will deliver services to MSM in a non-stigmatizing and respectful way. Establishing clinical and social services outside the government or private sectors requires effort, expertise, and funds to build infrastructure and processes. Take a moment to check your understanding. True or false? Robust program management is one way to ensure organizations of MSM are sustainable. True. With strong program management in place, organizations of MSM do not need to depend on larger NGOs for operational support and funding. It is beyond the scope of this tool to cover program management comprehensively, as it is a vast topic. Please refer to some of the many resources available online for more details and guidance regarding program management that is not unique to programs for MSM. This module focuses on management approaches and systems that relate to the unique needs of programs for men who have sex with men and that have been successfully used in scaled programs. What follows is a detailed introduction of some of the unique needs MSM communities face that program management structures must take into account. In brief, they are: approaches to achieving coverage, addressing complexities in identity, addressing stigma and providing legal sanction, dealing with MSM mobility and migration, promoting leadership by MSM, addressing larger structural constraints, maintaining strict confidentiality and protection of data, incorporating new advances and recent technology, and ensuring flexibility and continuous program learning. High coverage of populations of men who have sex with men is essential to achieve impact at a population level, and coverage should be monitored at all levels and take migration into account as well. Planning for and calculating coverage requires an estimate of the total population of men who have sex with men, which is also called the denominator. Establishing a programmatically relevant denominator is difficult due to the diverse identities of men who have sex with men, and because traditional meeting places have in many places been replaced by mobile technology. For a country-wide view, the National AIDS Control Programme or a central management agency obtains or coordinates this coverage information in partnership with all implementing organisations. Programs that achieve high coverage of men who have sex with men and wide geographic scope require close partnerships between government, NGOs, community-based organisations, community-led organisations, and critically, community members themselves. When planning to scale up services for men who have sex with men, it is essential to avoid the assumption that they form a single, homogeneous community, or that a single organisation led by men who have sex with men can represent all the various MSM subgroups. Gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men have a range of diverse identities and forms of sexual and social associations. Programming requires recognizing and understanding the diversity and identifying the needs of the specific subgroups of men who have sex with men. For example, HIV-positive men are sometimes discriminated against by other men who have sex with men, and programs should be sensitive to this. It is important to bear in mind that since not every man who has sex with men has an identity associated with his sexual attraction or behavior, many may remain non-self-identified, which poses an additional challenge to outreach. These differences are important and must be considered to ensure that those with the greatest prevention needs, that is, those at highest risk of acquiring HIV or STIs, are addressed first, especially in resource-constrained settings. Sexual risks, as well as risk reduction options and access to them, vary between and within these subgroups. For example, risks associated with unprotected receptive anal intercourse are higher than those associated with insertive anal intercourse. Since sex between men is illegal, stigmatized, and suppressed in many countries, social networks of men who have sex with men are frequently underground or hidden, making it hard to reach these communities. Fear of stigmatization can make it challenging to get men who have sex with men to openly discuss their sexual orientation, behaviors, or practices. To provide services effectively, providers must be sensitive, respectful, and non-judgmental, and ensure MSM have legal support. Men who have sex with men are often highly mobile, moving within a city, country, or across state or national borders because of stigma and discrimination, or to seek opportunities for education or work. Intervention should be flexible enough to meet the varying demand for outreach and commodities that accompany shifts in local population, and to serve men who have sex with men who may not speak the local language. An overarching goal of the program should be to build the capacity of men who have sex with men to take on leadership roles. There should be meaningful positions for men who have sex with men in the design, implementation, management, monitoring, and evaluation of the program at all levels to make it more effective and sustainable. This contributes to program effectiveness and also has great potential to reverse self-stigma that many MSM carry. To be as effective as possible, HIV interventions should not only focus on individual behavior change, but also address the broader factors that contribute to the vulnerability of men who have sex with men, some of which are listed here. Young men who have sex with men are especially vulnerable to HIV because of potential power imbalances in relationships and frequent alienation and lack of support from family and friends, in addition to more general stigma and discrimination, including homophobic bullying at school. Designing and managing a program with men who have sex with men requires information on locations where they gather and the size of the community as well as risk characteristics. Data that identifies locations or individuals as well as unique identifiers or phone numbers if used must be handled with strict confidentiality and protected from access by individuals, groups or organizations that might cause harm to men who have sex with men and MSM living with HIV. It is also recommended that organizations have a written code of conduct that sets out clear practices to ensure security, safety and privacy of data about program beneficiaries and implementers. Internet-based information and communication technologies and mobile telephones have made significant advances in recent years. ICT is changing the way MSM find friends or sexual partners, access health information and entertainment. Implementing organizations are using ICT platforms to reach men who have sex with men, although experience is limited, particularly on a large scale, and there is limited understanding of how to monitor and evaluate them. We have explored some potential uses as well as the limitations of ICT for programming in Chapter 5. It is important to note that many ICT platforms can be monitored by law enforcement agencies, so ensuring security of beneficiary data is paramount. The context in which men who have sex with men live is changing rapidly because of legal and social developments, as well as the adoption of new technologies. Given this evolving context and the relative inexperience of many organizations in programming for men who have sex with men, it is important to develop systems to quickly adjust their program when necessary and to disseminate lessons and innovations across it. As noted above, men who have sex with men are best placed to inform program design and to be aware of changes in their community. This can be assisted with a robust monitoring and evaluation system. Before moving on, please consider the questions presented in this self-check and assess your understanding of the information presented in this module. This brings us to the end of the first module in the Program Management Systems and Effective HIV STI Programs for MSM chapter of the MSMIT. To review, this module presented the importance of program management systems for HIV STI interventions among MSM, as well as some unique program management needs that are present in MSM communities. In the next module, we will look in detail at the steps involved in planning and implementing comprehensive HIV and STI services for MSM.